we're constantly exposed to this. We're constantly exposed to microaggressions. There was a report that came out that during COVID, the level of depression and the level of depression was worse for Black folks.
Really?
Because they were not exposed to those microaggressions at the office. So a lot of Black folks were not, when they're going into the office and they're kind of in a diverse environment, they put on that shield and they got to get hit with all those microaggressions. And that stress causes a medical problem.
Speaking of that, I just want to share that it causes a medical problem to the extent that it's being recognized. There is a ICD code, Z as in zebra 60.5. And that is the diagnosis code for discrimination. And I do believe it may be billable. And it's for discrimination and persecution, perceived discrimination and persecution. So I would advise people to look to see and check further into that ICD code.
So the ICD code, and it's could you repeat it again?
Wow, yeah, and to explain what an ICD code is for our audience.
It's a universal billing code that's used by hospitals and other providers in order for them to get reimbursed for services that they provide. So it's like the clinical codes. And
yes, so basically when you go to the doctor, in order for your insurance to pay for it, they have to put this code in your record so the cost is covered. So it's like a universal system. That's wild. Go ahead.
And so I believe this code came out in October of 2022. And it is not very well known. And it is ICD code Z as in zebra 60.5. And that is specific to discrimination.
And so you could use
perceived racism discrimination.
So so you could use that if you needed to get mental health.
I believe so, and especially if you're in the workplace, whereas there are or there is ongoing microaggressive behaviors. I think what it does is that it begins to stop making being subjected to racist practices or discriminatory practices personal, because oftentimes the way they get around it is to make it behavioral. You have the problem. There is no way in which the system is ever held accountable or identified beyond he said, she said.